Okay, streaming is starting. Did you want me to record or are you going to do it?
Oh, I can do it.
Okay, you ready to go then? Can go.
Okay.
Thanks for hanging in there.
I I'm double checking on my Facebook.
Oh, the
But I
stream.
don't. Yeah, I don't see it.
No, it's Zoom showing it, and I'll go check. I'll go check on those.
Yeah, usually it
Yeah, it's live.
appears.
It's live on. We're live on Facebook.
Okay, I don't know why it doesn't show on mine, but that's okay. Um, one more thing to do here. Let's see.
Make sure you start the video.
All these pop-up stuff that I have to agree to. Okay, here we go. All right, welcome everybody. Those on our Zoom platform and on our social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you for hanging with us. We had some technical difficulties earlier. You probably don't want to hear it, but I was on my desktop and I had everything going. And then we discovered that something in the audio wasn't working. And I tested everything from 1 to 20 different tests running Zoom and my microphone, my speaker, and everything, and just didn't work. So I switched to my laptop. So that's what I'm doing now. Um, this is an interesting topic, and I don't think it was ever covered before. Um, and it's very important. So we're going to talk about the Hawaii electrical inspections, NFPA requirements, and the risk of missing inspections. And I use the term missing inspections because it's an inspection that is missing from your schedule. And NFPA stands for National Fire Protection Association, which I'm a member. And believe it or not, this association is set up to handle anything to do with a fire and even anything to do with electrical. And this association actually publishes the National Electrical Code. So it's very related. If you're tuning in from outside of Hawaii, anywhere in the other 49 states, then this still applies because the National Fire Protection Association, who writes the NEC, National Electrical Code, was adopted by every single state in the United States. So all the electrical codes still apply, um, even if we're talking about Hawaii. And if you're tuning in from outside of the United States, like I see people from Italy, Germany, Japan, Portugal, you have a different set of electrical codes, although in general, the safety parameters are pretty much the same. So when we talk about the electrical code or the fire code, basically what I'm going to be talking about is the National Fire Protection Code, which is the NFPA 101, which is basically the life safety code. And what that code is about is it's applicable to both new and existing buildings. Commercial buildings are required to be inspected and tested every year. And that's basically what I'm going to talk about. And when I say commercial buildings, it's not only shopping centers, office buildings, apartment buildings. and so forth. Commercial buildings with respect to the building code is and concerns with even condominium buildings, residential. So any kind of residential building that's 4 units or more is considered a commercial building and not residential with respect to the building code. Okay, so when we talk about commercial buildings, that includes condominium buildings and as well as the non-residential. Okay, so let me go through these slides real quickly. This webinar is presented by Construction Management Inspection, which is a Hawaii-based construction management company. And that's probably the only commercial I'm going to do. I forgot. My name is Lance Luke, and we have our co-host, Martin Pea, who's going to be checking on questions and all that. I'm trying to advance the slide. Okay, so understanding NFPA standards in Hawaii, there's an overview. There's set standards, guidelines for safe electrical installations and maintenance. And why? Well, the purpose of it is to prevent hazards such as electrical fires and shocks and loss of electricity or buildings catching on fire, people getting hurt. Legal requirements, there's a mandate for compliance for commercial and condo buildings in Hawaii. Regular inspections and adherence to local building codes are required. And what's the importance of compliance? Well, reduce liability and avoid fines, ensures safety of occupants, and preserves property values. Now, you may ask, well, when there's new construction, isn't there a requirement for an electrical inspection? And the answer is yes, there is. Now, what happens after a building is built? Is there a requirement for electrical inspections? The answer is yes. Now, the issue is, are the electrical inspections completed? And they're not. For the most part, if you did a survey of condominium buildings in Hawaii, most of the buildings do not have electrical inspections completed up until maybe there's a problem. So usually it's the if it don't break, don't fix it kind of attitude. So if it's not the set it and forget it. That doesn't happen in electrical. Although you don't see it, and if everything is okay, then you don't do anything, right? But that's kind of the wrong idea, and I'll explain why as we go further along. Why electrical inspections matter? Well, you want to be safe. You want to make sure that there's no short circuit, people getting shocked, or a fire that's caused. There's safety issues, and you can avoid costly legal consequences if you don't have electrical inspections completed, or if your electrical system is outdated, it could cause a problem. Somebody could get shocked, or if it's so old and antiquated, if there is a fire in the building and someone pulls the fire alarm, if your electrical is old, your fire alarm system may not even be working. So what you want to do is protect tenants, occupants, residents, and anybody that goes into the building. You want to protect them from electrical fires and any kind of damage. That's why it's very important. Identifying electrical risks specific to Hawaii, but let's talk about other coastal areas, like through even United States and even around the world. There's so many locations that are near water, near the ocean. Hawaii is surrounded by ocean, so we have a lot of specific issues regarding a location. Now, I've been uh, in different areas and seen the same kind of situation in Italy, Portugal, Spain, France, any location that's uh, near the water, near the ocean. So coastal environmental issues. You have a lot of salt air, salt water, salt spray, corrosion and salt exposure. It leads to faster deterioration of electrical components. Why? Because electrical components, a lot of the components are metal. They're made of metal, and metal corrodes. Also, tropical climates. There's power surges from tropical storms and hurricanes. I know last week we just experienced kind of a major tropical storm with a lot of water and power outages and different things like that. So tropical storms and hurricanes cause power surges and can damage electrical systems. If you need more information, you talk to your local power utility company and they can tell you what steps they're taking to reduce the electrical risks of damage from storms. And also, coastal areas have a tendency to have very high humidity and very high humidity related failures of electrical components, causing insulation breakdown, increased risks of short circuits and those kind of bad things. Now, electrical wiring and various devices and components, they don't last forever. It's not a set it and forget it. You always need to be aware of checking the condition because at any time you could have a failure. Now, what is the electrical inspection process? If you do have one, and you should, here's some key areas to inspect. The inspectors will evaluate wiring, panels, outlets for wear, corrosion, other hazards to ensure components are safe and compliant with the generally acceptable standards, which is the electrical code. In addition to wiring and sub panels and all that, there's entire distribution panels. So in larger buildings, you have numerous panels and wiring that goes all over the building. And so all those components need to be checked. What's the timeline? How often should we be doing these inspections? We should be doing the inspections every year. Now, I ask around, I talk to a lot of condominium property managers or condo board members, site and resident managers, and I ask the question, how often do you have your electrical system inspected? And a lot of them say, we don't. Is there a requirement? We only, if there's a power outage or some problem, then that's when we call the electrical contract. And they're not aware that there's a mandate for a yearly inspection. So annual inspections are recommended for Hawaii's commercial condo buildings with more frequent checks for properties in high-risk areas. Now, when I say recommended, I'm using that term lightly. I could say they're required, and most people don't do that. So, but it should be done. Part of the electrical inspection process is reporting and documentation. After the inspection, you want a detailed report highlighting issues and recommended actions. So you want to keep this document because it's going to support compliance, a lot of liability protection. If there's a power outage and you did your due diligence and you have your inspection done, then at least it's safer for you. You have more protection. Now, in a situation where there's no inspection completed, how do you know what the cost is for your condo reserve study? So if you're in a condo and you look at your line item on your reserve study under electrical, and there's maybe a couple $1,000s, that doesn't seem right. So a professional electrical inspection is not cheap, but you're going to get the details and it's going to be factual. So if the details on your inspection says that you need to replace one distribution panel, or you need to replace this or that, or have repair done, and it's very costly, that number should go into your reserve study for planning purposes. Okay, a lot of condo boards, they don't want to create inspections and then that's going to lead to more money needed to fix the building. Okay, so that's probably one of the reasons. Then after you get your inspection report, you have to understand the results, right? A lot of people just flip through the pages, look at the pictures, and then look at the bottom line, and they go, oh, it says we need to redo our electrical and it's going to cost $4 million. I don't like this report. And they kind of file it away. Okay. Now, what is a proper way to handle that? If the report says you got to replace components and it's going to be $4 million, the proper way in a condo would be to plug that number in the reserve study. So you can collect money for reserves. So when the time comes and you actually need to do the repair or replacement, the money's there. Okay, so we kind of work backwards, or we don't work in a diligent manner when we're trying to get reserve studies done if we don't have all the data. Okay, so part of the electrical inspection is the data needed for the reserve study. So you need to understand the results. If you're a property manager or a board member, or even if you're a condo unit owner, it's good to review what the report says. So inspection reports detail safety and compliance issues, helping property owners assess their systems and overall condition. So we're getting into the nitty-gritty. What is the common findings of an electrical inspection? Typical issues like outdated wiring, overloaded circuits are identified with specific recommendations for correction. Now, these are like small items. The bigger items are your big distribution panels or circuit breaker panels in all your common areas, including the circuit breaker panels called sub panels in every single condo unit or apartment unit for that matter. How do we resolve any kind of issues that could be violations? Property owners should properly address any violations outlined in the report to ensure safety and avoid penalties. Now, any kind of electrical problem where things don't work, it's a short circuit or anything that was not new or not functioning properly when the building was first built, that actually could be an electrical violation. But we don't want to talk about a violation or a non-compliance with the electrical code. We want to talk about safety, okay? Helping keep the building safe and protect the occupants. Ensuring long-term electrical safety, regular inspection schedules. I mentioned Hawaii's humid and coastal conditions require frequent inspections to identify and prevent potential risks. Best practices are replacing corroded parts and adding surge protection where you need it to extend the system's life. And then ongoing maintenance, routine maintenance. You want to upkeep, reduce hazards, and protect occupants and your property value over time. So every building owner needs to be dialed in to your regular inspection, your best practices, and ongoing maintenance. But I can tell you that the majority of buildings don't have any ongoing maintenance of electrical systems. They're not following best practices, and there's no regular inspection schedule. There's no periodic inspection. They're not hiring a professional electrical contractor to come in and do diagnostic testing and things like that. It's because it works, right? The electrical works and everything's good. But all these buildings that were built in the 60s and 70s, they're old. Their electrical system is old. Their fire alarm system is old. And sometimes to upgrade the fire alarm system, you need more electrical, and the building was not designed to handle all this additional load factors for not only for the common area fire alarm system, but for general use of interior. A building built in the 1960s, did it have enough power in the individual units, whether it's an apartment unit or a condo unit? Did it have the power, right, for a microwave oven, right? A new microwave oven or a hair dryer or a disposal, right? So we get calls in our office like, oh, how come every time we run the hair dryer, the lights, flicker and dim? Or we turn on our window AC units, and I noticed that some of the lights don't work. Well, because this new equipment is drawing too much power on the existing 1960 load. Okay, so instead of adding more and more equipment without changing the circuit breaker, the main, you could have a fire situation starting. Now, a lot of apartments, even condos that were built in the 60s and some in the 70s, they only have a 60 to 75 main, which is not enough to power all this new equipment. The main should be actually 100 amps or more. So keep that in mind. Hawaii case studies, missed inspections in Hawaii have led to significant incidences, and this just illustrates the risk of non-compliance. I know that there at least was a hotel who didn't upgrade their electrical system. They waited too long, and there was a huge power failure. Now, what happens when you have a hotel that's occupied and you have a power failure? You need to get the power back on, right? You have all these hotel guests there. So what did they have to do? It's an emergency. They have to bring in an emergency generator, and it was 24/7, paying overtime to the electricians and all that. And what could have been a small fix turned into a huge bill. Now imagine an emergency generator having to pay all these workers 24/7 to hook everything up to run power to the building. It could be anywhere from 600,000 to over $1 million just for 30 days. So the number keeps getting bigger when there's an emergency. So that's a financial risk. So if you fail to do your proper inspections and repair as needed, when you have a big power outage, then it's going to cost more money than if you paid to have regular inspections and maintenance done. Okay, the other thing is the legal outcome. People may want to sue because they didn't have electricity. They have to move out of their hotel or move out of their apartment or whatever. So you don't want to have that liability. So what is the conclusion here? I know I went through real fast, but before I get into that, I forgot to mention that today uh, was Facebook's birthday. Okay? Facebook was started in 2004. So Facebook is over 20 years old. And some of you may like Facebook, some may not, some may use Facebook a lot. I use Facebook kind of a lot. And the reason I'm mentioning that is if you go to our Facebook page, we post a lot of information that can help you. Um, and we've gotten a lot of responses that, oh, I didn't know that. Thanks for letting us know. So what I'm gonna do is in my conclusion, I'm gonna go over some highlights just so that you guys are aware. So Hawaii's unique environmental conditions make regular electrical inspections essential for property owners, especially managing commercial and condo buildings. Now, I know some of you in attendance are board members or you guys are professionals in the condo industry. You may be a property manager, you may be a unit owner, architect, engineer, developer, attorney, or contractor, site manager, resident manager. I recognize names, so I'm not gonna say your name, but I'm just gonna kind of mention what you do. Okay. Um, so adhering to the electrical standards isn't just a legal obligation, it's critical safety measure that can protect against costly repairs, electrical hazards, and even lawsuit. Okay, so what I mentioned before is NFPA 101, which is a life safety code. Why is it called a life safety code? Because it's created to protect people's life, people from getting shocked or killed in a fire. Okay. Why do electrical inspections matter? Well, because you want to fix things before it gets into a worse condition. And then you want to be sure you identify electrical hazards. What's the uh, causes of problems? Corrosion and rust, right? Humidity, power surges, or lack of power due to a storm, humidity damage. What do you expect? What can you expect during the electrical inspection, right? You want to be sure what is the scope of the inspection? What is the inspector's going to do? And then make sure you get a written report with photos, right? And I've seen reports where they use a thermography camera and it can detect areas where there's less heat than there's supposed to be or more heat than normal, like scanning a circuit breaker box and all of a sudden one breaker is like overheating and the scanner will tell you that. And then also understand what the results of the inspection are and kind of take those results, take the information and use it, put it in the reserve study or plan for repairs to be done in a timely manner. Now, I think, you know, 10 years ago, nobody was too concerned about plumbing issues, cast iron drain piping, and the same with electrical. And then slowly, within the past 10 years, we've gotten to learn through, industry professionals that cast iron drain piping, it doesn't last forever. It doesn't last 80 years. It doesn't last 60 years. So what is it? What is the lifespan of cast iron piping in a condo building or in an office building, an apartment building, in a hotel? The lifespan is, believe it or not, 35 to 40 years, maybe 50 years if you can stretch it. So knowing that the lifespan of cast iron piping, drain piping, lasts 40 years, right? And then you look at how old your building is, then it's kind of a red flag to say, well, I think we're overdue, right? And this is, a rule of thumb. Some buildings, their piping is still in good shape, and what you do is you have inspections done, you have video taken of inside the pipe to look at the condition and so forth. Okay. And so within the past 10 years, it's been really a effort of a lot of building owners to realize the problem and do something about it, right? Replace your cast iron piping. But that's good and well with your plumbing. But what about electrical? I have not seen the same effort going into electrical compared with plumbing issues. And why? Well, we have more plumbing leaks than we have electrical problems, I guess. But and it's not like a building wide, electrical replacement kind of thing. So uh, I like to see more buildings get their inspections done and start repairing. Otherwise, you're going to be faced with huge bills in the future, or what's worse is a big power outage when you least expect it. And whenever there's an emergency, guarantee you're going to be paying more, right? For emergency, as opposed to if you had them come in, do regular maintenance. So let's see what else I have. What's coming up? We got a lot of other webinars in the future. Stay tuned, check with us, and we have a website you can go to look at the different webinars that we're offering for this year. We've got some really, really good ones. And then visit our website, askbuildingexpert.now.site. That's the site that you can go to sign up for webinars, to look at what webinars we've done, to catch the replays of what webinars we've completed already. And then we have a whole bunch of websites, specialty websites, where we call them expert websites, where we only pick one topic, like asphalt or waterproofing or concrete spalling. And that website is only about that subject: painting, roofing, line of fire, condominium, so forth. So that's an added bonus. That we have our National Building Expert blog that's on the website. We're updating the website every day, so we spend a lot of money creating and maintaining a website. And then we have the ABE, which stands for Ask Building Expert webinars. So you can go look at what webinars you missed, and you might learn a little bit about it. And then we also have a whole bunch of books. So to date, we've published 50 books on a lot of different topics. So if you go to our website and you click on, I'm pretty sure you click on publications or books, and it goes to the book page. where you can see the different book titles and all that. Now, if you see a book title that you're interested in and you don't want to go on Amazon and pay for it, be like Martin. He'll send me an email saying, although I want you to make money, I'm part Chinese, so do you think I can get a discount? And said, yeah, okay. So all you guys that are tuning in, if you want any of these books, shoot me an email. Instead of going on Amazon to buy it, we'll send you a PDF for free. Okay. So talking about electrical, we have a special website, electricalexpert.now.site that you can go to. That's one of our expert websites. And now we're going to do the Q&A. So if you got any questions, we got answers. My contact information is listed here. If you're not looking at your phone or your iPad or your laptop, my number is 808-754-3425 and email lanceluke@hawaiibuildingexpert.com. I make myself available. If I don't have the answer to your question, I can contact my numerous sources and try and get the answer for you. Okay, so oh well, before we get to the Q&A, I have something else. There's in Hawaii, we have every year we have what's called a building expo. And I think the name is like Hawaii Facilities Property Management Building Expo. And it's going to be in March. And I'm going to be giving a seminar titled Why Hire a Construction Manager? And I haven't announced it yet, but all the seminar attendees will get a physical copy of the book that I recently published with the same title, Why Hire a Construction Manager? So I think it's on March 5th, but anyway, check with us or check online for the details. So right now I'm gonna see if we have any questions from our interested audience. So Martin, do you have anything?
Yes, Lance, I do. Quite a few came in, so let's get right to it. The first one that came in here is, what are some practical steps property managers can take to prevent corrosion-related issues in electrical systems due to Hawaii's humid coastal environment, as you shared?
Let me think about that one. I think I would recommend inspections. So after a storm or some kind of hurricane or event, to go around and check. Use your maintenance people. If you don't have it, you can do it yourself. If you're a site or resident manager or a condo board member, um, or even a property manager, go around, walk around, take a look, and look for obvious signs of problems. Now, I've seen where there's exterior conduits that somehow maybe a tree branch fell on it or something, and it got the connection was disengaged. So the conduit was open, and every time it rained, water was getting in. So when you have an electrical conduit, it's basically a pipe, right? So can you imagine rainwater going into the pipe? And what's inside the pipe if it's an electrical conduit? You got electrical wiring in there. So eventually it's going to lead to a short circuit, right? So look for obvious signs. Of course, I don't expect every manager to walk around with an electrical tester or anything. So that's the first thing you would do. And then the second thing, you would actually hire electrical contractor or somebody that does inspections, and they could bring in their toolkit with their various, bells and whistles equipment, and do load testing, uh, see if you have any loose grounding, those kind of things. So I would say that's the first thing you would do. Just don't ignore the problem. Walk around, same thing for other parts of the building as well. So it's always good practice to do that anyway. And when I write SOPs for site and resident managers, I also include uh, inspections, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, that kind of thing. So it's just being proactive. And I'm on 3 condo boards myself, so uh, I kind of follow the method that I advise other, condo board members or property managers to do.
Okay, thank you, Lance. And then
Sure.
I'm just going to add this something that I learned from you. Like just this past heavy rain we had, even though it's rain, I went around, to check. You check for leaks in your roof to see if, any, with these heavy rains and winds cause any problems. But it's also good. I kind of check around those areas where if it gets wet, or like you said, are there electrical outlets down below it or something like that to make sure it hasn't created those kind of situations, within my home. I'm talking more the residential kind of thing, but yeah, you're right. You got to look out for and protect yourself. Otherwise, you take that risk. Yeah.
Hmm. Good.
So here's my next question that I found here online is how can property managers ensure electrical safety in between formal inspections, especially when inspectors may not be immediately available?
Well, like I mentioned before, do your own inspections, and of course, you probably are not certified in doing electrical inspections, but we're not saying that you're the electrical contractor. We're saying that you're the property manager or a board member or site or resident manager, and just see what you can see. If something looks out of place, then that's what you got to do. We're not asking you to repair anything. Uh, Maybe if something's not working, you're gonna tape it off. You're gonna flag it. You're gonna put some orange cones, cordon the area. As far as don't, for other people, don't walk in this area because we don't know what's going on with the electrical. So um, that's the least you can do, right? Now, what happens if you don't do those things and somebody trips on a wire or is in contact with a live wire and gets shot, right? And there's liability because if they sue, their attorney is going to say, well, what steps did you take to mitigate the problem? Oh, well, we didn't know it was a problem. Okay, well, when did you have your building last inspected, right? So it's always these questions to see who's who's going to take the blame, right? And believe it or not, there's a lot of properties who do not have detailed backup information. Well, where's your inspection reports? We want copies of it. Oh, well, when we go around, we just go look and we don't really generate any report. Okay, well, that's not good practice because if there's a lawsuit and you can't prove that you took steps to, clean the floor that somebody slipped on, that's not a good thing, right? So have you ever gone into a restaurant, right? Most of the times it may be fast food, and you look on the door, on the wall by the door, and there's a clipboard that says the date um, and the time when someone last inspected and cleaned the restroom. They don't only do that for the manager to keep their employees in check. They do that for liability. If somebody slips and falls, right, and gets hurt, and they show the other side in a lawsuit that yeah, they were on top of it. It's not like they ignored the problem. Okay, so that's better for liability reduction than have nothing to show for it. Oh, when was the last time you actually, checked on the bathroom? Um, oh well, we don't. Yeah, we do that every day. But there's no written record of it, right? So if there's a pipe broke and it's dripping water and somebody went in there and slipped and fell and got hurt because you couldn't see the water and there's no evidence that the restaurant employees actually inspected it or checked on it, then that's not a good situation, right? So yeah, Joe, just we stress safety all the time.
That's a real good tip there, Lance. Thank you. Yeah, keeping your reports and documentation. You can do that for a lot of things. Yeah, so very good. Okay, our next question that's come in here is, are there specific materials or products that are more resistant to Hawaii's environmental factors and better suited for long-term electrical safety? Ooh, tough question.
Yeah, well, a lot of in the old days, a lot of electrical conduits were all metal, steel, right? And now they have electrical conduits that are rated plastic, like PVC type. Um, so sometimes for outdoors, they're going to use more weather resistant than just plain metal. So you ask your electrician, what is the best material for the location, right? Now, if it's indoor locations, it's not going to get wet, there's not going to get any weather exposure, then that's different. I'm talking about exterior locations where there's a lot of sun, wind, and rain and all that. So I've seen security camera conduit where um, basically use the El Cheapo. I don't know where they got it from, but it's like all rusted. And I said, "Well, you got a conduit problem here." It says, "Oh, it was just installed 2 years ago." So I said, "Okay, well, I don't know what kind of material they use, but doesn't look like the more expensive type." So just be aware. I know sometimes cost is a factor, and when you get the quote going, wow, $30,000. Well, can we do it cheaper? Yeah, we can do it cheaper if we use, this type of material rather than the type that we bid on. Okay, well, let's do that then. Okay, without being concerned about the warranty or the maintenance in the future.
Very good. Thank you. Our next question here is, for property owners on a limited budget, what are the most cost-effective electrical upgrades to enhance safety and comply with NFPA standards? You get people that are concerned about cost of things here, yeah?
Well, that's always an issue. Sometimes you don't get a choice, right? Sometimes you don't want to go for the cheaper, non-UL listed devices or anything, but for for lower costs, like lower hanging fruit items, I would say your electrical outlets, if they're standard and not the GFI type with the test and a reset button, um, you want to either replace those or if you don't have it, put those in on areas where you're near water sources. And then, uh, there's not much money you can save. It's not like replacing a circuit breaker panel. You don't really get too many choices, right? With circuit breakers and so forth. You have choices on different brands that serve the same purpose, but basically there's not much savings in those. So overall, I would say get multiple bids for work, and then you can compare as long as your specifications are the same, as long as the contractors are bidding the exact same thing. And you want to be specific with exactly what they're going to do. Even to the point of you have a circuit breaker panel, you may want to specify the brand, right? So everyone's bidding on the same thing because there's brand A, brand B, brand C. And maybe brand C is the cheaper one and brand A is the most expensive one. And if you're not specific, you're going to get confused when the contractor proposals come in. So that's a way to separate and make sure that everyone's bidding on the exact same thing. And if they're not, they should put it in their proposal, or give an option, right? Or kind of help you out saying, well, I noticed that you asked for this, but we can save you money by using this other product, which is cheaper, but still serves the same purpose. So maybe that's what you want to consider.
Okay, Lance, I just caught us a question on Facebook. So let me go over there and ask this question there. It's a situation here. The visitor here asked that or mentioned we inquired with county inspectors that we wanted to install solar panels. It was advised that we need a permit to install by a licensed electrician, which I understand is true. Yet my neighbor installed multiple panels on a rusty roof. Is that dangerous?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what the question is.
No, it's kind of like a comment and
Well, okay. Well, if the
not
neighbor
a
if the
question.
neighbor installed panels without PV panels without a permit, okay, that's wrong already. If the issue is uh if the roof was rusty, whether it's okay to have the panels installed. I don't know what the time frame of this was, but if he's saying rusty, then normally normally house and I may be a little off here, but from judging from the question, it seems like this is a homeowner who lives in a single family house, and his neighbor has a single family house and installed PV, and his roof was rusty. So normally on a single family house, the type of roofing material is asphalt shingle. So the situation is if he's saying the roof was rusty, then it's most likely a metal roof, right? That's rusty. So I'm thinking um, he may be asking, he or she, if it was okay to have the panels installed on the rusty roof. And the answer is yes, yes, or it could be no, depending on the condition. Now, if the roof was metal and it looked like it was rusty, then maybe it wasn't too bad. But if it was really corroded and to the point of it's not watertight anymore, that becomes a roofing issue and not a PV uh, photovoltaic panel issue. But I'm not sure. Maybe the person that wrote that could clarify it. Or the other thing is, if the uh, person is asking whether you need a building permit for a PV system, the answer is yes, you do need a permit, and you need two different contractors. You need a contractor who has a solar PV license, right? And you also need a electrical contractor. Now, there's PV contractors who have both, and that's fine. Then you wouldn't need a separate contractor. But if not, then yes. So, Martha, you had PV installed, so you know, but your
Yeah,
roof was
yeah.
your roof wasn't corroded.
No, 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 no. And I think the question, just looking at it again here, there was asking about is it dangerous was actually the closing question. So I think it was an issue of the electrical, if there's any electrical issues with the roof on there. And like you say, I mean it's all always got to be installed by a electrical contractor, and they got to check all those safety issues. Yeah, with the
Oh, okay. Well, um, since you mentioned that, by virtue of just the PV system alone, that's dangerous because when you have PV panels on the roof, right, they're energized. So if you go up there and touch it,
mm,
you can get burnt. It's hot, right? Even if it's not even connected to your house, okay? So um, the fact that you have a metal roof, now you have an electrical uh, system on your roof. So hopefully, uh, the contractor took steps to uh, separate the PV panels from the roof. Okay, so in other words, what I'm saying is that if there was a loose wire or somehow the panel got in contact with your roof, now your whole roof is energized now. So that special precaution. So whoever asked the question, you might want to double check because um, like if you touch your roof, you may be able to get shocked if they didn't take the proper protection. So it's always a concern of mine when you have electrical electrical system with a metal roof, just like a metal building. Like I inspect industrial buildings, warehouses all the time. The whole building is made out of metal. It's steel frame with metal siding. So if any electrical live electrical was in contact with the side of the building, uh, somebody could get shocked if they're leaning against the wall of the warehouse, right? So,
yeah,
um,
that may have been the issue, I think, but well, it's one of your views, I think, on Facebook, so you could probably do some further communication with them later. Yeah. So
okay.
okay, and we have just one more question if you want to take it here that came in, and it's a legal one. What are the legal implications for property managers if electrical issues are found after an inspection has been missed?
Well, I think if if there's no if there's no problem, okay, then you're okay. But if there's a problem with electrical, you got to fix it right away. Otherwise, you have liability, right? So it should be a situation where it's a no-brainer. It's not like, oh, you know what? Our building doesn't have enough money, so we're gonna kick the can down the road and we're gonna fix it next year, not this year. Okay? So it's very important that um, people be aware of electrical issues and fix the problem before it becomes a bigger problem. It's sort of like if you have a plumbing leak, you're not going to say, well, we don't have money, so let's just wait till next year, or a roof leak, right? Yeah, we'll wait till next year when we have, the money to fix it. No, you got to fix things now. Same with electrical. Electrical is even worse because um, people can get shocked from it, or you have a power outage, right? Or it could start a fire, right? So to me, that's worse than a leaky pipe. No one got shocked or no fire started from a pipe leak. So that's where, my message is always when it comes to electrical, take the steps you need to and get the problem fixed. Call professionals in and do things the right way. Otherwise, you might regret it. So I know that we're out of time. I guess we started a little late, but we're ending within an hour we started. So on behalf of Martin and I, we'd like to thank everybody for attending. Hopefully you learned something. And we don't make things up. What we give you are facts to help you. And you can fact check our information, and we want you to do that because we ourselves do a lot of research on our own, and we built up a lot of knowledge and information that we like to share with everybody just to help the cause. The main thing is, be safe out there. So please join us next time in our webinar. If you have any questions on this webinar or other questions that come up, let us know, contact us. We'll be happy to help you. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.